This is your dose of daily market wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com. Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with Master Trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 6/8/22, show number 396. So the markets are chopping around, Nick.
Yeah, chopping around once again like a ship in the middle of a storm. And again, we just see up one day, down the next, up one day, down the next. Today we're down a little bit on the Dow. You have the S&P down a little bit, not much, and then the NASDAQ is actually gaining 0.25%. So it's a choppy tape out here. But, again, take your Dramamine every morning before you wake up if you're going to start to trade.
That bad, huh?
It's unbelievable. You can't get any kind of a trend established. Markets, some things go up, some things go down. You got to really be a chart reader at best today to even, get to navigate a little bit through these markets right now. It's really incredible.
Right. So we're awaiting the CPI shortly.
That's right. This Friday, we're going to have the CPI number. Everybody's waiting on that number to try to gauge inflation. Obviously, as we all know, inflation remains very, very high. Just look at oil today. Again, right around $120 a barrel. Look at nat gas today. I mean, what can you say? This is, at $9.50, up another 2%. We all know inflation is high. Look at food prices that you're paying now. I mean, what don't we know about inflation that everybody's so keyed on this so-called CPI number, which, I have to think could be a little bit doctored or something like that. They might change it a little bit.
They'd never do something like that, would they?
You never know. You never know.
No doubt. Well, hey, the situation is hopeless but never serious, Nick.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. But again, you have U.S. policy towards energy and towards food. It's just absolutely terrible. I mean, we're not doing anything to help our cause here. I mean, how much longer can people just sit by and just say, hey, what is going on? Are we going to blame Putin for everything? Yeah,
it's all Putin's fault when in doubt. They don't have Trump to kick around anymore, so now it's Vlad's fault.
Yeah, that seems to be the narrative that we hear everywhere. And again, we just do nothing in this country to bring energy prices back down, to bring diesel prices back down, to help out the consumer. All we do is print money, and that's over.
Yeah, well, so it would appear, but don't you think that he's going to pivot at some point, Powell?
Yeah, he could pivot at some point, but he can't really pivot anytime soon. And I'll tell you why. The Fed funds rate, generally, when you have a cycle like this, a tightening cycle, it's going to need to climb back up to where the 2-year Treasury note is. And that's right now at around 2.75%. So he's got a long way to go before he could pivot. He can't pivot before that because inflation will just continue to run.
Right. Well, can they really control it anyway, Nick? That's the question.
Well, if you ask me, I don't even think you need a Federal Reserve. I think you just need to let the Fed funds rate or any kind of overnight bank lending rate go to where the 2-year is. And if you do that, Federal Reserve could go by the wayside.
Yeah, well, they're not going to do that because the Federal Reserve's all about power, right?
It's always about power. Everything is about power. And that's unfortunately, the problem. I mean, I understand what the Fed did as far as quantitative easing and all of these things to get asset prices up. But they kept them up, for too long. And it's like steering a ship, when the party's going on, who wants the party to end? And now the party's over. These guys are actually doing what they call quantitative tightening, where they're actually selling their assets now. So again, we'll see how much of this is baked into the cake. Obviously it is, some of it, but if it goes on for a prolonged period, it's going to be very, very problematic.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, oil, 120 a barrel.
120 a barrel, and that's without any kind of major event going on. If we got another major event going on besides Russia and Ukraine, I mean, what's to say oil's not going to go a lot higher? So again, it's rather remarkable. Here we were energy independent, and even if you don't want to be energy independent, at least temporarily, ease the permits that these guys can go out and drill. Allow them to drill on some federal lands. I mean, it's just ridiculous at what they've done. They've done nothing to help the U.S. consumer at all.
Absolutely. Hey, gold still flat, huh?
Yeah, gold today,
touch.
just up a little bit here, about 0.3%. So it's actually come off of its morning lows, wasn't down that much anyway. So gold is hanging in there, really just going sideways at the moment. There's nothing great or terrible, but it's hanging in there pretty well at the moment.
All right, Bitcoin is under 30 again, huh?
Yeah, Bitcoin back under 30,000 today, down 1.8%. Bitcoin futures sitting at around 30,400. All in all, though, it still has a consolidation pattern to potentially make one more move up. I don't think it's going to be a big one. The bigger picture, though, the trend is down, and that's what you got to keep in mind. So again, it does live to fight another day at the moment, but I don't know how many days are left in it.
All right. Well, I guess a little bleak picture on a lot of fronts here, but you can do something about it. Just go over to inthemoneystocks.com, Nick's site, see how he's beaten the indices for decades. And while you're at it, take a look at the Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, at Kerry Lutz, and your email is always welcome, KL@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll talk to you on Friday.
Sounds good, Kerry.